Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live recording of the Engadget podcast. I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe, and joining me today as guest co-host is Senior Editor Sam Rutherford. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today. We've also got, in between the two of us, podcast producer Ben Elman. How's it going, Ben?
Hello. That was
Hello.
awkward. Hello. Yeah. Oh.
Already thinking about the games.
Yes.
Today we're obviously going to talk all about WWDC, which just happened on Monday. That was Monday, not Tuesday, as it usually is, which means a lot of us had to fly in over the weekend and hang out at Apple Park. And so that's fun. If you're new to this stream, just a breakdown of what's going on here. We're actually recording the audio version of the Engadget podcast, which goes out to podcast platforms later tonight or sometime early tomorrow morning. But this is a behind the scenes look. In between segments, we're going to be able to talk to you. Sometimes we might make mistakes, but during the recording portions of the show, we won't be able to engage directly with the audience. Sometimes we still do take your questions from the YouTube chat, but we're not always able to directly address you. But stick around and we'll get to your questions in a bit. Leave them in the chat. Ben is looking, I'm looking, Sam's usually good about looking at it too. So disclaimer also that I might be occasionally, sneezing or touching my nose. That's just, I'm sick, but the COVID tests say it's not COVID. Great, but other sicknesses still exist, I guess. Boo.
Yeah,
Boo to germs.
it's so cruel that you can be sick and not have COVID in this day and age. It feels like all other it's not a minor illness, but it feels like all other sneezing sort of illnesses should be turned off.
While we start this out, yeah.
Yeah, while we sort this out, nobody else can sneeze or cough or have a runny nose or anything like that. So,
I want to say hi to the people who are already in the chat. Is that okay?
Yes, I was about to do that myself. Go ahead.
Perfect. Good morning to Gabriel, Old Man Puzzles, Declan Flynn, Jiming Zhong, Michael Coley is also here. And Gabriel says, P.S. Nice review, Sam.
Oh, thank you.
I believe this is about the Surface Laptop Go 2, which is in a full review, right?
Yes, that was just a hands-on. We'll talk about this later, but we will have a full review coming soon. So stay tuned for that.
So a big episode today, everybody.
Yeah, big and chunky. Gabriel says, good morning. Raise your hand if you've already installed the iOS beta and can't wait to edit all of your horrific misfires. That would be me, except for the fact that I am always really, really wary about the beta version of OSs.
And you should, as you should
mobile
be.
OSs.
Yeah, don't install them on your main device unless you are feeling extremely brave or like headaches.
Like headaches. This is, for me, it's because it's my job and I have a separate review unit to test these things out on. So all right, let me just make sure. Did we need to sync or anything? I think I'm still
Yes, we're gonna sync in a second. Hello to dude named Charlie. Hello to JJ. Hi, Sir Holmes. Hello to Just Why. I have no idea how you got that YouTube username.
Why?
Congratulations.
Why? Yeah. And also Jaime Avalos, I think, or
yes.
Chris Angelo Perez is saying hi from Manila.
Hello, Chris. Always happy to see you. Okay, so is everybody recording? Sam, you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Sherlyn, you're recording. You're always on the ball. So we're gonna count down from 3. At the end of 3, we're all gonna make a sound. We can clap or snap our fingers. Chat if you want to clap or make a sound also. It's always appreciated. It tells us that you believe in us. So, and then we're gonna do 5 seconds of silence because that helps me with the editing part, but that's the only thing I need. So
let's see the clap emojis in chat.
Yes, let's see the clap emojis in chat. Okay, so counting down from 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done with the silence. Let's get on to the actual episode.
Yes, and hello also to Pitesh Mystery, Hakane Thim, Josh Turnoff, and Spark Tech, who says hi from hell, and I would like to know what that means. Please elaborate. All right, everyone clapped. We're ready to go. Pulling out the show notes. Sorry. Really quick.
Yeah. Okay. Hello from hell. That could be New York City.
Apple Park. Yeah, it could be also New York.
I think there's
City.
a Hell Canada somewhere.
Hell Ontario or something. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe, and joining me as guest co-host today is Senior Editor Sam Rutherford. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for joining us today. We're here to talk all about what else but WWDC 2022. It happened in Apple Park on Monday, and a ton of news was announced, including the new M2 chip, the system on chip, as well as the MacBook Air, which has been redesigned. We're going to go into all of that in a little bit, but we're also going to talk about Microsoft's new little Surface, the Surface Laptop Go 2, which Sam has managed to get some time with. Sam can tell us all about that. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the show, please make sure you subscribe on all your podcast platforms that you like, and leave us a review on iTunes, and also send your thoughts to podcast@engadget.com. We also do a live broadcast of the behind-the-scenes recording of this show on YouTube, on the Engadget YouTube channel, every Thursday morning at about 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to get some live interaction with us and send us your questions there, you can also join us over on YouTube. All right. Are we good to dive into Dub? I hear nothing. That must be a yes. Am I offline?
Yes. No, that was a thumbs up.
Oh, I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at the show notes. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So Apple hosted its kind of weird WWDC this year, right? It was sort of like an in-person event, but it was also like a pre-recorded event that those of us who were there in person, watched being played on a giant screen for us, which is interesting. And Sam, you watched from here in New York with the rest of the team, right? How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it was good. It seemed a little weird to me because it's like normally they host the event in Steve Jobs Theater, but you guys were outside in like the park in the middle of the big Apple spaceship. So how was that?
That was so funny. It was I suspect that the reason to do it somewhat outdoorsy is to, make sure that we don't get all cramped inside one big giant indoor space where there's still kind of a pandemic going around. I mean, here I am sniffling from something else, not COVID, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you probably picked up something. It might not be COVID, but something, because that many people. I also saw that, so some other people were like in the Apple Park cafeteria, and they were watching from inside, and that seems like slightly better because you were watching on a screen anyways. It's like, why didn't they just put everybody inside where it's a little bit, get the air conditioning, you're not like in the sun.
Yeah,
I think you moved to like get in the shade, so you weren't as hot.
Yeah, the media section was like half in the sun and half in the shade. And because like I'm such an aggro person, I was like in the front of the line when we were going in. So the front few rows were actually in the sun. And then while we were sitting there, Dana Woolman, our editor-in-chief, was there with me. We were like, I don't know if I want to sit here in the sun while my battery melts on my lap.
For 2 hours.
For 2 whole hours. So we looked out for seats behind, and we were able to get a seat a few rows back, and we didn't even need the AC. Like once you're out of the sun, it actually just the temperature difference is huge. But anyway, it definitely was. I mean, look, yes, we were watching things on the screen. I will say that to make it a little bit better, I guess Tim Cook and Craig Federighi did come out before the streaming started, and welcomed everyone. Thanked us for being there in person. I was just like, for us, if we hadn't thought that there would be an opportunity to see some hardware, I don't think we would have gone. So I know that there's some sort of like carbon footprint sort of involved in this, but for us, it was worthwhile to, for the potential of new hardware. Anyway, speaking of new hardware, we did see the new redesigned MacBook Air with an M2 chip. I think we'll get to the M2 chip in a little bit, but the MacBook Air itself, I touched this thing, I typed on it, played with it, opened the camera. Some of its, I think the most striking feature or change at least is that it's no longer got the wedge shape where it's got the slightly tapering edges. The profile is not like getting slimmer and slimmer towards the top of the lid. It is just basically more squarish. It looks basically like the MacBook Pro that was launched last year, and it's got 4 colors as was rumored, but the colors are just not the fun ones that we were hoping for. These are midnight, starlight, space gray, and the last one, I just can't remember Apple's name for it, but it's like a light silver or something like that. So gold, silver, light silver, and blue, basically, right? It's also got the MagSafe charging port back. You've also got like the larger screen and therefore a notch to house the new camera, which is now 1080p instead of just 720p. Sam, are you impressed by this new MacBook Air?
I don't know if impress is the right word. I think it's the upgrade that the MacBook Air really needed. I think you mentioned in your hands-on that like I think the wedge shape was a little dated, and I agree with you. And this actually kind of reminds me of, remember like a few years ago, I mean this is maybe more than a few years ago, when they came out with the standard just 12-inch MacBook. It wasn't an Air, it wasn't a Pro, it was just a 12-inch MacBook. It had like one port. And I was extremely frustrated by that device. And then this is like the MacBook. This is what I wanted that thing to be. It has more ports. It has, a great processor. You still have MagSafe, so you have the magnetic charging thing. And it's like, and they got rid of the 720p from the old model, 720p webcam from the old model. And then you get a nicer screen. It's like, this is really what like your entry. I mean, granted, it's not really entry level price because it starts at what, $1,200?
$1,199, so $1,200.
Yeah, and so the price is still a little bit high, but like that's it's really, it's got everything you want from a really slim Mac laptop.
It is very expensive. Now, to be clear, that is $200 more than the M1 MacBook Air was. So
which is still going to be on sale. So it's not like it's going away. It's still an option, but yeah.
Speaking of ports, I personally didn't really enjoy the port placement. It was the 2 USB-C, and there's only 2 USB-Cs. Like when you say more ports, there's, I guess, the MagSafe counts as one. But there's the 2 USB-C/Thunderbolt ones are on the left side next to the MagSafe. For me, like I use the type of dongle that only has 1 USB-C port, and then it covers up the other port when you put it there on the same side. I like those that have one on either side. But the other thing that's different about the MacBook Air is that it's got 4 speakers now. All built within the enclosure, so I didn't see any grills, on the MacBook Air's body.
And they said it somehow supports spatial audio, even though it's not like there's no speakers behind you. So I mean, did you get a chance? It's probably pretty crowded there. Noise environment probably not the best with like 100 other people right next to you.
I will say, I went there. I was like, should I try to play some music to get a sense of the spatial audio? I gave up. Like you said, it was noisy. It's not the sort of situation where you can determine. But I will brag about this. So it was a very long walk from the keynote area over to the hardware experience area. It was maybe like a mile or something. And as we walked, I slowly overtook some people. And then I was like, I don't want to make it too clear that I'm trying to charge to the front here. So I slowly kind of.
You're secretly not trying to start a stampede?
Oh yeah.
Because once the first person starts running, everyone is going to start like jogging or whatever.
And I didn't want to make people run with their backpacks full of heavy equipment on, but I spotted David Pierce and Neil from The Verge walking ahead of us. I was like, I cannot be behind them. They were doing the same thing as I was. So in the end, they made their way to the front of the line. I trailed behind them like a little bit, and then towards the last, like I want to say like last 10 feet of like getting to what I could see the experience area, I just like sped up because I was like holding back. I sped up and I got over to the front. Then I was the first one to touch the MacBook Air. So humble bragging rights, weird brag, but there you go.
Hey, it's important for journalists to be fit too. We gotta get to the products first.
We carry heavy equipment and we walk a bunch. So there you go. All that said, I got there, grabbed a MacBook, started playing with it, and then I rushed right off to like a writing area, which was far away. So I did spend very limited time with this thing. I will say the screen looks nice. It is a liquid retina display now, as opposed to a retina that the resolution's more or less the same. I mean, there's like 64 pixels more because it's slightly taller of an aspect ratio, and that's about it. The keyboard was nice. I typed a little bit into it. The trackpad's nice too. There's also the Touch ID sensor on the power button on the top right that our editor-in-chief Dana liked because she said like it just the groove I think appealed to her, as well as the fact that it's not like a glossy finish that will attract all kinds of fingerprint smudging. So there's a lot to like, I think. Oh, and not to mention, not to forget, fast charging on a MacBook Air, which I think is really an important feature to have. On its own, the battery will last up to 18 hours of video playback. That's what Apple said. Apple also launched a new adapter. Sam, this seems right up your alley. New adapters. You want to tell us more about that?
That's one thing that like I'm kind of currently long-term testing is I'm doing some testing for some power adapters, especially because now, like, especially on the phone side, you know, a lot of the companies aren't giving you power adapters in the box.
Right.
So now, you know, I'm trying to see if like, you know, which one does it make, and we're kind of at a point where it's like, oh, now that we're not getting free power adapters with new devices, you kind of have to like think about it's like, oh, do I want like a high powered device that has, you know, can power everything, or do I want like a small one that's only for my phone, and then I have like a medium sized one for a laptop, and then I'm good. And so there's actually two. There's there are 35 watt power adapters. There's a dual port one, and then there's a slightly larger dual port one. And there's no estimated time on when they're going to be available. I checked the Apple website yesterday. They just said coming soon. So I'm kind of be excited to test that out. I almost wondered, is like this is kind of like foreshadowing for like, do you think it's even possible that they might have USB-C on an iPhone this year?
I don't think this year, but next.
Yeah, the skeptic in me says probably not. But like, you know, if you wanted something to like, you know, charge, you know, a new adapter to charge your iPhone and then an iPhone with USB-C, this is kind of like paving the way for that. Maybe, you know, there was that EU decision that came out recently talking about, hey, all devices have to have USB-C starting in 2024. So, you know, that'll be really interesting. Soon. Yeah, and so regardless of whether Apple wants to do it or not, they're going to be forced to have some sort of solution with USB-C. Yeah. So it's nice.
And with the 35, or I think it's a 67 watt charger, you can get up to 50% of juice on your MacBook Air M2 in 30 minutes. So that's really not bad at all for a laptop battery that's that big. And speaking of availability, you were mentioning the new MacBook Air is going to be available. You can already pre-order it more or less, but it's only going to ship next month.
Right.
So we don't really have a unit out in the wild for testing just yet.
It's a little unusual because usually Apple's really good about like, hey, there's this new thing and you can pre-order it, or it'll be available next week or in 2 weeks, and then, you know, shipments will start going out. So it's a little interesting to see that, like, you know, it's not going to be available until July. That said, I mean, it's a difference of a couple weeks. But I know, you know, there's a lot of people who've been like waiting to upgrade, and I was like, just wait for WWDC. You know, maybe they do, maybe they don't announce something, but at least you'll know and have a better idea. But yeah, like I said, the new M2 Air seems like a really great, you know, all around system.
Speaking of the new M2 Air, there's also a new M2 MacBook Pro 13-inch. It doesn't seem like it's a lot different from the 14 and 16-inch models that were launched last year, other than the M2 chip. Also, I believe MagSafe. There was a little bit of a debate around like in the press room, which, by the way, was so fun to be in the press room again. But in the press room, like a bunch of us like were talking, is there what's different about the 13-inch MacBook Pro again? And we're all asking each other the question. Very little is known, but it seems like not much has changed from the 13-inch MacBook Pro with M2 versus the 14 and 16-inch with Mac M1, Max, and Pro. But speaking of all those chips, Sam, any thoughts on the M2 and the performance changes there? I think the big takeaway for me is that there's some hardware acceleration for the media engine now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the video, Apple said it's about 18% more performance overall in general compared to the M1, which, you know, that's not nothing to like, you know, laugh at, but it's not, you're not seeing the huge leaps that you were from the Intel to M1 transition. And I think that's the thing to like, you know, keep in mind is that, you know, they changed architecture when they went from Intel to, you know, their own M2 stuff. And then now they're kind of doing the iteration game. And so I think a lot of people is like, you know, they don't expect a 50% jump from every new MNIP every year. That's just, you know, it's a little bit unrealistic. And so this is kind of like, you know, more settling into the kind of cadence that people might be expecting more, you know, going down the line with M3, M4, whatever, you know, we see in the future.
I mean, I think we'll see more also coming with the other chips, right? Like the M2 Pro, M2 Max, and so on and so forth. Then yeah, so there is only a kind of small jump here, but until we test it out, I think it's hard to say like what that meaningfully represents for us in the real world. Even if it is not something that like is a huge jump from the M1, like Sam said, like you're not upgrading your MacBooks every year. If you have an M1 MacBook Air, you don't necessarily need a new one just yet. These should last longer for you. If you really like the redesign, then maybe that's like a big reason to buy a new one. But I don't think you would buy one just for the strength of the new chip alone. So I think is that all of the hardware that we saw last week? Last week? Good Lord, it's been forever, y'all. That we saw earlier this week. We also saw a ton of software news. Sam, what's your favorite like software area to focus on? What do you want to start with?
For iOS, Mac OS, what are we talking?
Out of all of them, we could start with Mac OS just because we've been just talking about the Macs.
I mean, I think to me, like, you know, there's a lot of iterative updates. I think, you know, a lot of the safety features are interesting. The thing that actually has me the most curious is when they showed using the iPhone to take like top-down shots. It was like, how are they doing that? That was, I was like, it seems like too good to be real, but like if you know, if they can pull it off, that's awesome. And like, you know, this is like actually super useful for us because it's like, you know, a lot of times like we're doing unboxings or whatever, we want that top-down shot, and like not all of us have like, you know, a rig in like a camera arm so that we can get that straight top-down shot. So that's actually seems really useful just on like a everyday sort of thing. But
so the feature you're talking about, yes, is part of macOS and iOS called continuity camera, and then also desk view, right? Part of continuity camera, where you're allowed to use your iPhone as like a webcam for your MacBook FaceTime calls. Because why? Because those traditionally have been pretty shitty webcams. But yeah, I think it requires some sort of hardware setup. First of all, you're going to need at least a tripod for your phone.
Yeah, they showed an interesting little clip that like was able to just like go onto the lid of a MacBook. They didn't mention if that's going to be like they're going to sell that or what.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, you're going to need something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And then yes, the feature that Sam was talking about, where it uses like the wide angle camera on the iPhone to do both your face and what's on your table, which like Sam said seems too good to be true. Like I get wide angle cameras, but they're not that wide. Like maybe it's like a distance away from your laptop. Like you have to be at least 7 inches away to see the desk.
And it seems like they must have some like kind of impressive processing, because like it looks like they like kind of eliminated a lot of the barrel distortion that you usually get from like an ultra wide angle lens, which I think is how they're getting that shot. So they must be doing some sort of like special processing to make that, because when you saw it on the video, it's like very straight lines. Like, it was very impressive.
I will say a lot of the tweets that I saw around this feature involve people going like, oh, what happens when I get a call on my phone? I don't want to be disrupted. Like, no, I think Apple thought this through, right? It's going to use things like handoff and whatever to like when your call comes in on your phone while you're using continuity camera, it probably will throw up a message on the MacBook that you're actually using, where you have your attention to be like, hey, you've got a call coming in on FaceTime, reject, decline, you know, set answer now if you want. But I obviously haven't tested this out myself. I don't know how it works, but I believe that's part of the system here.
Also, you know, you can always set like do not disturb or focus mode. So because if you're in the middle of filming a video, like you probably don't want to answer a call, like, you know, do your work or whatever, and then you can, you know, catch up with whoever, you know, called you later.
Yeah. And the rest of the macOS updates, which by the way, macOS is now the newest version of macOS is Ventura. I don't know where in California that is. Everyone's just thinking about Ace Ventura.
Ventura Boulevard? I don't think that's what they were going for, though.
I don't know what they were going for, but macOS Ventura, yeah, there's some small changes here and there. I think some of the biggest differences are in what we were just talking about: continuity camera. On the whole, I'm not a big macOS user, so very, very few of these changes really got my interest. Excuse me. But what I was very intrigued by is iOS. But Sam, before I move on to iOS, was there anything about macOS that jumped out at you?
Not directly. The thing that I think is interesting is like how they're adding a lot more desktop features to iPad OS. So they, you know, they showed like the screen, the external monitor support and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of goes along with like my theory, and a lot of, you know, this is not like a secret theory, that like, you know, they're slowly transforming iOS/iPad OS into Mac OS, and you know, maybe eventually you know, iPad OS is going to replace Mac OS, because, you know, they're really trying to make a lot of the features the same across the board. And I think, you know, like, for example, there's still no Mac with a touchscreen, and it's like,
right.
But if you make iPad OS good enough so that, you know, people don't notice the difference, then suddenly you have touchscreen support and you can put it on a Mac, and, you know, there you go.
I mean, that's a really good point. I do think that the thing you're talking about with iPadOS is the freely resizable overlapping windows for the first time. That's definitely going to bring iPadOS more in line with like a desktop, you know, productivity experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think though that like iOS still has a home, still has its own place. I don't think we're going to see iOS transition all the way to replace the desktop version. Maybe iPadOS and macOS might.
Yeah, probably more iPadOS, not iOS like proper. Yeah.
Yeah, but even if they didn't merge down the line, I do think there's distinct enough like use cases for all three that they could like still stick around. But you know, I'm not Apple. I don't know what they think. I do want to you know, I think iPadOS 16, I think the main highlight was the fact that they would have overlapping windows, and a lot of the other updates to iPadOS were shared with iOS 16. So I want to get into that. Now, iOS 16, one of the big things here, the new lock screen, right? I mean, like it's customizable very much in the way you customize an Apple Watch home screen. So, you know, I got some more details from Apple after the keynote, and basically when the lock screen is unlocked, you long press the lock screen to bring up the editor. You can swipe through the font faces for your clock, colors, and that sort of thing. You can also change the wallpapers. You can add widgets. So there's a bar under the clock that will take up basically the entire width of your screen. And you can put up to 4 widgets in this section here, in this little bar, either 2 big ones or, you know, 4 small ones, or 1 big, 2 small, that sort of thing. And there's also room for yet another widget at the top of the clock. So altogether you get up to like 5, right? That's the widget area is contained to the like top third of your screen. And then notifications are going to be sort of, they're redesigned, right? They stay out of the way now because Apple wants to give room to your wallpaper to take up like front and center. So when you have a bunch of notifications, they're just all going to be grouped together in one row. And to see them, you kind of have to like swipe down to see them instead of having them all displayed all the time. And then you can also swipe them so they like sit at the bottom of the screen and they get out of the way. And then there's a new feature called Live View, I believe, which is basically notifications for live events, right? Like you're watching a game and the score is updating in real time, or you've got an Uber ride that's making its way to you. That sort of live event can have its own notification on the screen at the bottom now. So you don't have to unlock your phone, which I don't know if this is the rationale, Apple never said, but for me, this is a good way to use your phone still and see important stuff without having to do Face ID and unlock your freaking phone with your mask on. Sam, as a hardcore Android user, like I've been for the longest time, how does this speak to you? Like, do you feel like you wish Android had this?
I mean, to a certain extent, Android has some of these features already. So, like, you know, it was interesting because it seems like a lot of the lock screen and home screen wallpaper changes is sort of Apple's, you know, version of Android or Google's Material You that we got with Android 13 last year. And so, and it's like, obviously, like, you know, whatever, inspired, copied, like, I don't want to get into that. It's like, you know, you see that like they're taking like they're really focusing on the UI and like the visual design of the lock screen in a very Apple way. So they there's like the ability to have like, you know, different layers on your home screen, so you can have like your wallpaper go in front of like the clock text. And they even show that like you can use like some sort of like magic lasso tool to like bring like photos to your pet and like isolate that and then put it on your wallpaper. I'm very curious to see how that works, because if anyone has used like the magic lasso in Photoshop, you know it's not perfect. So it's like,
no, it's
you know,
not,
what they showed there looked really slick. So, you know, I'm curious to see how that turns out.
I'll say, I mean, like something like this works already on the Apple Watch, right? Where if you take a portrait shot with an iPhone, you can use it as a similar
right. And they did say it was
right?
inspired by a lot of the watch faces from you know, Watchos.
Yeah, and so on that one it works, right? Like whenever I take a portrait mode shot of, I guess, myself, and my head's always cropped out correctly in front of the clock area. So far it seems like it works, but maybe there's a caveat, like you said, like it has to be taken with the portrait mode on,
or it just works better with portrait mode, like, you know, portrait mode shots. Yeah, I mean that would make a lot of sense.
But yeah, you were still talking about the lock screen before I interrupted.
Oh, and then just like, you know, they allow you to change your fonts, which is like, you know, a small thing, very, very nice. And it's like, you know, it kind of goes back to, you know, Apple adding widgets to the main home screen in iOS. And it's like they're really kind of adding a lot more customization features to iOS, which like for a long time you just had nothing, right?
Yeah.
You could choose your wallpaper and like that was it.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, they're making it easy to do kind of more advanced things, because you know, Android, you can customize anything you want in Android, but a lot of times it's just like a huge pain in the ass. And so like, you know, it gets really tiring to like constantly update and like kind of hone your like Android wallpaper. So I like making a lot of the more advanced features a little bit more accessible. I did want to ask, what do you think about the new notification system where you have notifications rolling up from the bottom of the screen?
I mean, I didn't see it in action myself yet. I think it looks neater. I'm the sort of person that gets really annoyed by like more and more notifications, because I get so many from apps that like, I'm like, I thought I deleted you. I thought I deleted your permission a long time ago, but no, you're back up here. So I do like the idea of not being overwhelmed by them. How it works in practice, whether I'll miss them, whether I've missed important messages, I think that remains to be seen, right? I think I have to wait till we actually get to test this. But the other thing about this is the lock screen is also tied to your focus modes, by the way. So you can swipe between them when you're in that editor mode to set a new lock screen very quickly. But you can also tie, for example, the picture of your pet is your home focus mode. The picture of your laptop, if you put it
they're making it a little bit more dynamic, because they even show like, you know, it can adjust based on like the weather and like the cycles of the moon, or like in a whole bunch of other factors.
I mean, there's a lunar phase coming to Watchos as well, but we'll get into that later. There's the focus modes when you, for example, that's introduced like a while ago, last year, I believe, where you can set different, you know, apps to allow them to be able to ping you or not, different home screens that you want to use based on time of day or your schedule or your location. So now you can more easily change these focus modes by just swiping your lock screen left or right, which is pretty nice. The other thing, one last thing I want to talk about the lock screen before I want to go into the more exciting feature. The last thing about the lock screen is that what wasn't shown on the keynote is a new, like a photo carousel wallpaper where you can actually select like something like 5 photos to rotate through and display. So if you have more than one child and you want to spotlight them and make sure they don't accuse you of favoritism, you can set it on like family photos, or like each kid gets their own, you know, slot.
Have you not heard of a group shot? Come on now.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. But you know, the lock screen is cramped, so everybody wants their space big. And I mean, maybe you have 5 partners, you know, and you want to, you know, polyamory is a thing. Not for me, but you know, you could. Anyway, so speaking of 5 partners, and maybe sometimes wanting to keep secrets from each other or just not spill your stuff all over the world, Messages has a bunch of new features, big ones being an edit button and undo send. And I think that these, look, if you've used a messaging app like Telegram or WhatsApp, you've been able to undo or retract your messages for a while. You've been able to edit messages in a while. But for iMessage to get them finally, and iMessage being such a predominant messaging app in the US, I think this is really, really nice to see. I mean, it looks like it functions just exactly the way it does in apps like Telegram and WhatsApp. But one caveat is that you can only make your changes within 15 minutes of your original sending of the message. So if you remember that you sent something wrongly, you want to rescind it, you have to do it within 15 minutes of having sent it. And if you do make any changes to your message to someone, the notification that they get, if they hadn't seen the mistaken version before, you will be able to, they will actually see the correct one reflected on their phone. So Sam, does this, like, for us over in Android land, I mean, messages just freaking sucks. I don't even. So do you have like iMessage NB?
No. I will say though, I love that like they're adding this feature, because anytime I use like a chat program and it doesn't have the like edit or like I'm not less picky about the undo send, but that is definitely a useful feature. I just like, you know, let me edit my stuff. Like, we're not sending SMSs from 15 years ago. Like, we're talking like we live in like a rich media landscape. Let us edit. Let us like, it's like, you know, if you make a typo, just why not be able to change it? You know, and Twitter's gonna apparently add an edit button at some point too, and or is testing it out right now. And it's like, just everybody just do this across the board. Like, I get mad when I can't do it on, you know, the apps that I use. So it's like, it should be a standard, like, for everybody.
And to your point too, we don't live in an SMS world anymore, right? Like, we had to learn the whole like asterisk, this is what I meant sort of thing, lingo, because we couldn't edit. The whole reason there's a star correct version is because SMS is like, and then you also get like 7,000 messages if like someone sent one error and then like, you know, keeps getting auto corrected by accident. So you get follow-up messages. It's like so much spam. But Chiming Chong in the chat on YouTube has a good point, which is that they believe 15 minutes is too short of a window. Do you think 15 minutes, you know, is too short?
I'm undecided. I think that's one of those things that you want to spend a little bit more time with. In a lot of like, you know, apps, there is no limit. But like, you know, depending on like, you know, in work Slack, you know, your company gets to decide what that limit is. And so it's like, you know, it's interesting. I wish it was longer, but I'm not like upset about it, because usually it's like you send something, you notice you said something like there's a typo or you made a mistake, and you just change it immediately. And I think that's the most important part.
I will say that it's not like the message doesn't show that it's been edited, right? Apple will display the word edited, so you get, you know something has been changed.
And that's important too, because you don't want to be like, oh, now you're trying to like gaslight people, like, oh, I didn't say that, when you did, you just made a mistake.
Right, exactly. Which is why I personally feel like 15 minutes may be too short of a window, but it is also kind of when you are still in the mood of like, you know, looking at that message and what you said, you're still in the conversation, whereas like after 15 minutes, you might have just walked away and started to do something else. So I don't know. I don't feel like it's a huge deal just yet. And undo send is also kind of a, like you said, it's like rescinding the message. It's nice to have, but not necessarily like the biggest thing that's come to iMessage.
I'm just a little sad for like, now we're probably gonna get less stories of like people who send like something to like their coworker when they really meant to send it to their partner or whatever. And it's like, okay, we're gonna get less of those like funny stories, but yeah, no, it's great.
I don't know about you, but my mom on WhatsApp, like, there was one night I woke up to like 7 deleted messages. I was like, Mom, what did you send? She was like, oh no, I got angry about something and I'm not angry anymore. I was like, Mom, what the hell? Like, tell me what you were angry about. No, I misread something. So I mean, now we're gonna get more mysteries like that, I guess. But that's not all that's coming to messages. There's also new dictation tools. One of them is very similar to Google's voice typing on the Pixel 6s, which is you can, leave the microphone on and still be able to edit with both your voice and the actual keyboard while you're composing a message. So that's not terrible. And then there's some family sharing features that are going to be coming that will allow kids, I guess, to like request for permissions for certain features by sending you a message, and you can also do the approval from there.
Yeah, it's kind of streamlining some of the parental controls and making it easier for parents to send up, like, you know, a kid's account with the right restrictions. Like, you know, you don't want them to go to certain websites, or you can set, you know, screen time limits and stuff like that.
I also want to shout out to one more thing in messages, which is that, like, our producer Ben brought this to my attention. They're also going to make Android emoji reactions to messages more streamlined. Hey, we're part of the crew now in your group text on iMessage. Anyway, one thing that Google announced it was doing recently was that, like, it won't send that spam message anymore, where it's like, oh, so and so, like, Sam reacted with a heart to your message, right? Like, it just doesn't do that. It shouldn't do that anymore. But on the Apple side of things, when an Android user sends an emoji reaction to your message, you'll see the actual emoji on the message now, except for it'll be with a green bubble, like, in the background, just in case you didn't know.
This green bubble, blue bubble thing needs to go away. It's like, it's the most, like, weird, like, classist, like, oh, you gotta make sure that people know that they're not using Apple products. Like, who cares?
Hells yeah. I'm just like, cool, I guess. Like, I don't really understand the differentiation, like the rationale behind it. Maybe it's a privacy thing, I don't know. But there you have it. Lots of changes coming to messages, but throughout iOS 16, there's still other updates to expect, and they seem to be more like individual things. So there's a new feature called Safety Check as part of your personal safety I guess tool bag that Apple has. And Safety Check's really, excuse me, Safety Check will let you see, like, for example, the situation that Apple cited during the keynote was someone that's trying to leave an abusive relationship situation. Safety Check will let you see which ones of your contacts have access to your location and your calendar. So I think it seems like a very specific use case of, like, you used to be sharing this information with someone and now you don't want them to have it anymore. Or maybe, you know, even if, like, maybe you handed off your phone to someone for maybe a few minutes and you come back and you just want to make sure that they didn't accidentally allow themselves, and by accidentally I'm being optimistic here, but, like, they gave themselves permission to track your location all the time. I think this is nice to have, but I honestly would have loved to hear Apple address AirTags a little bit more at the keynote. But, you know, unless they had meaningful updates to share, obviously they weren't going to talk about it. Sam, what did you feel about this Safety Check feature?
I think, you know, it's a useful feature. I think, you know, it seems like every, like, the big developers conference, like, either Google or Apple will come out talking about how, like, you know, they have some new feature who, you know, save someone's lives. And I think it's really nice to have features like that be more accessible, because you never know when, like, you know, you'll be walking down the street and you just don't feel safe, and you just want to make sure that you can, you know, you can phone somebody in the case of an emergency, or, you know, whatever. I think, you know, I think this is, we're kind of seeing this sort of, like, you know, spread throughout, like, the tech ecosystem at large. So it's great.
I know of, like, people, I don't want to say who, like, they break up and then they're still stalking their partners through iCloud Photos or Google Photos, that sort of thing, and they find out stuff that they didn't want to find out before. So I do see how, like, this is actually a more common scenario than I perhaps might have imagined. And it's going to be nice to have the control to be like, nope, I don't want this person following my every move.
Right. Or like, you know, say you're, like, out at a bar and, like, you know, someone's talking to you and you kind of just want to get away from them. It's like, you know, you want to be able to call in someone for help and do it kind of indiscreetly. Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, so that's all we really got about any sort of personal safety / privacy related talk, which is kind of interesting for me, because I feel like the last few WWDCs have been about private. There's, like, been a section on privacy, but this time this was really the main thing. Fair enough. Maybe they feel like they've done a lot already. The other thing that struck me as an interesting feature, as I guess part of iOS 16, is Apple Pay Later. This is an interest-free 4-payment plan, right? 4-payment installment plan that Apple is offering to people if they want to make, like, big purchases using Apple Pay. Apple's whole, like, dipping toes into financial provider behavior is not my favorite. I don't know how I feel about a lot of these features, but I think my concerns come with like the whole idea of encouraging people to buy more with limited resources, right? So Apple Card was really a little bit about that because they wanted to give you a line of credit so you can buy stuff. And now this is like, I'm going to help you buy more stuff with like by breaking it down to 4 payments.
For me, like I always get worried about like, you know, buying stuff on credit because like I think at least like a personal fear of mine is just being like in debt, like way over your head in debt and like not being able to like dig yourself out. I mean, if you have the means to like, you know, buy something, I think that's great. And, you know, if it's something that really important and like you know that like you can pay it off over the course of time, I think that's also important. It's nice that it's interest free. So there's that. Because I know there's been like a lot of like talk recently about like payment services that are like, you know, encouraging like TikTokers and influencers and to like encourage people to buy a ton of stuff. And they're like, oh, it's going to be interest free. And it's like, oh, wait, it's not actually interest free. And now they're like, now their credit is getting hit and they're stuck with a ton of debt. But like, you know, I don't really have an issue with this. But at the same time, I also wouldn't really use this feature. So yeah.
I don't know. I might consider it because why? Like, not only is it no interest, it's also no late fees. Not that I intend to be late, but just the idea that like, because I have had to like make a bunch of big purchases on loans or on credits, dealing with like people who are loan providers and stuff like that, and just being burned by interest, right? And feeling like interest is such a huge addition to your monthly fees or something like that. The idea of no interest plus no late fees is nice. I wonder if, you know, Apple will push the credit industry to behave a little differently because of this, because again, it's also going to be accepted everywhere Apple Pay is accepted, which means just your grocery store that accepts Apple Pay, like does that mean you can pay for your toothpaste in like $1 every month?
Right, and it's kind of unclear exactly how it works because I believe Apple is financing the like pay later so like they're paying upfront for whatever you buy and then you're paying Apple back and they're not taking any interest or late fees. So I guess they're like kind of, you know, they're assuming that people are good for it, which, you know, I think is an optimistic way of looking at it.
It's very optimistic. And then also, yeah, the financing, where is it coming from? And is this just a way to encourage higher adoption of Apple Pay? Maybe, do they think that Apple Pay adoption like currently is pretty low? I don't know. And also it's limited to a few countries right now. America, Singapore, I think Portugal is one of the countries as well. So I don't know that this is going to be... Also, it's people who have Apple Pay, which means it's people who have iPhones. It's people who have some sort of Apple device. So these are not people who are at risk of defaulting on payments, I don't believe, right? So, you know, as there's a level of safety here. That's, I think, most of the news for iOS. I don't believe I
have one question for you. Did you talk to anyone at Apple about the new shared photo library in Photos?
So yeah, I did talk to Apple, but not about specifically this. They did sort of briefly mention it at, when they were talking about messages and sharing photos and that sort of stuff. But what you're talking about is the like, shared iCloud photo albums, which is like, cool. This is Google Photos, circa like what 2003 almost, like not that far back, but like maybe 2013.
And so one thing that's like confusing to me, and I talked to Dana a little bit about this, is that apparently it's a single shared photo album that you can add like a certain amount of people to, and everybody who's been added to that album can contribute and share and sync photos. But it's one album, which is just like,
you can't do more than one. You're right, gotcha.
Right, it's like, you know, in Google Photos, you can make as many albums you want and share it with whoever you want, and they can be different people depending on the album. And it's just like, why limit it to one? It doesn't make any sense. It's like a really strange limitation for where we're at in tech. I don't know if it's a privacy concern or a storage concern or what, but yeah, it's really weird.
I would bet the latter. I would bet like, I think Apple doesn't have as heavy of cloud capabilities that Google does, right? Google has probably tons and tons more server farms, I guess, than Apple does. I don't know. This is me speculating. But yeah, no, that is weird. I think it's like more limited to like wanting to have a community that can see your private photos, like your family probably, right? And like your close friends, as opposed to like event based or like situation based photo sharing.
I mean, like in Google Photos, I have like a shared photo album that I upload pictures of my kids, so like my parents and my in-laws and like family can see that without I don't have to send like every new picture to like 15 different people every time. And so like that seems like a great use for it, but like if you use that for it, then you suddenly don't have the option to make any other shared albums. So it's just like, I don't know, it's weird.
It is a different implementation for sure than those of us in the Google Photos world are used to, but there's nothing stopping an iOS user from having Google Photos anyway. So I guess that's the consolation over here. Speaking of iOS, you reminded me actually there's smart home stuff too, right? There's the new home app for iOS 16. It's just got a redesign. You now see all of your rooms on the one page. You just keep scrolling down on. You can have finer grain controls over devices by tapping on the cards for them. That sort of stuff. I'm not still not a big like Apple smart home devices person. I'm still very in the Google and Amazon world with that. So
I mean, there's just not a lot of choice, right? You have the HomePod Mini, and that's
I mean, you can connect other things that are Apple, like HomeKit
right, but there's no like Apple Smart Display yet.
Right, exactly. There's no like first-party device other than the HomePod and Apple TV that really like would encourage me to kind of like swim in that direction, I guess. But for those of you who are very HomeKit centric, then you'll probably appreciate this redesigned home app, which is it looks nice. I mean, it looks a little like at some point it looked a little like Web 1.0 to me and on some places, but other than that, it was pretty looked functional. I do want to make sure we have time to talk about Watchos 9. This is going to be a true chunkster, a chunking whopper of an episode, so just bear with us here. But Watchos 9 is also another like platform that gets huge updates, and among which are apparently the system's ability to now detect heart rate zones or calculate heart rate zones. I will get to that in a minute, but I really want to quickly shout out before we get there the new watch faces. There's new like new fonts coming to the watch faces. There's new like customization tools. There's like Sam sort of shouted out earlier, new lunar calendar watch faces for people who follow that sort of timing. For me, like I knew what my grandmother's birthday was on the lunar calendar. I didn't know it on the Gregorian calendar, so there you go. So there's a bunch of options there, but yeah, there's two big things I think with Watchos 9 being one is heart rate zones, which allows not only for like better information during your workouts, but also better sleep tracking. And then the other thing I want to dive into too is medications. We'll get to that really quickly, but heart rate zones. Basically, they're able to like calculate whether you're in fat burning or like cardio or just, low level activity. And then you can see that while you're working out. You can also customize your workout view. So you can, put which metrics to display while you're running, for example. There's new information being displayed for runners as well. I believe vertical oscillation is one of the new metrics that you can keep an eye on. So that's a meaty update coming to the workout app in Watchos, but I was also very I'm impressed, but I'm also like, this is so behind the competition that like, why am I so impressed? But basically sleep zones, right? Sleep zones while sleep tracking. You've got now you can tell you if you're in REM sleep, deep sleep, that sort of thing. Sam, you're about to say something.
Well, so I wanted to ask you, because like this sounds great, but the big issue is that the Apple Watch still has like 1 day of battery life. And so most people have to charge their Apple Watch at night. So you can't, unless you like make an effort to like charge it in the morning right after you wake up, or like charge it in the middle of the day. Most people won't be able to do the sleep tracking because they don't wear their watch at night, because the battery life of the watch is so short.
I will say that like for me, I'm getting closer to like one full like 24-hour day on the watch. So like I actually could do sleep tracking if I wanted to.
So you wake it up and like, so you wake up and it's like dying, and then you can charge it.
Yeah, pretty much at like low power mode or something. Like it has to get like, it's like, do you want to throw up low power mode now that you've woken up, that sort of thing, and then you had to like throw it on the charger. The good news is that with the Series 7, it at least was like on faster charging than
right. So like you get up, like you can go brush your teeth, put your
exactly.
watch on the charger, and then when you're done, hopefully it's ready for the rest of the day. But
exactly.
this just goes back to like I really want all smartwatches. I don't care who makes them to
I
have
know.
at least 2 days of solid battery life, so you don't have to worry
I
about stuff like
agree.
that.
I agree. The rumor is that the Pixel Watch is only 1 day, but we'll see.
Right, and I was thinking about that. That's definitely concern.
Yeah, but for me, I mean, like, I'm not like a person who loves to wear a watch to bed, so this isn't like bother me so much. I am just happy to see Apple catch up to the competition. Like, Fitbit has had this forever, but obviously it's Apple, and Apple actually has a usually a pretty thoughtful way of showing you the information it's collected. So on the health app, in the sleep section on your iPhone, you can not only look at like the graph, the chart of like all the time you were asleep and what zones you were in. You can also tap onto specific times or spots on that chart to get more information, like, oh, how many minutes were you in REM sleep, how many, and what percentage did that make up of your overall sleep. You can also get like that as a portion of your weekly contribution to that zone. So like, for example, you may have only gotten like 3 minutes of REM sleep tonight or last night, but you maybe did get 20 minutes overall that week. So it's more cohesive, I guess. You get a bigger picture. And then there's also like a widget that you can add to see sleep stages if that's that important to you. You can put it on your lock screen or your home screen, and it helps you compare how you were doing each week more easily. It's been a while since I've used Fitbit's sleep tracking, but Fitbit, yes, it did present all of this information, but in a more like chart and like chronological form, as opposed to like being able to really overlay stuff on top of each other and see how you performed. The one thing I do want to point out is that sleep tracking on an Apple Watch with watchOS 9 will still require you to set a sleep schedule, which I did not appreciate, because they're not actually detecting when you fall asleep. They're just basing it on, like, I tell the watch that, yeah, I aim to be asleep by 11 p.m. And anyone that knows me knows I'm still awake at 4 a.m. usually.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, every time. He's like, you're sending messages at 3 a.m. I was like, why are you up?
I'm playing Wordle at 3 a.m. I don't know.
Yeah, waiting for the reset at like midnight Pacific, so you wake up and play Wordle right when it comes, the new Wordle puzzle comes out.
Exactly. But yeah, no, that's watchOS 9. I mean, there's still a few other little updates, like there's a new multi-sport workout. Swimmers can get more like options to track their laps. New kickboard option for if you're doing your pool swimming. So quite a lot of new stuff coming to watchOS 9, including if you have been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation too, by the way. It can better help you track how much time you spend in certain like zones, right? But the other thing that I think stood out to a lot of us is this new medications feature. This will be available to US users. You can basically use it to track the medication you're taking. You can add a medication by searching from the database or by taking a photo of your medicine. So like a picture of the box or the pill bottle. And Google will use the same system that powers live text to read the words on the picture and tell you what that medicine is, and then just kind of like fill it in for you. And then you can set reminders to take it. You can log every day when you've taken it. And then it will also throw up drug interaction warnings, and it will flag them as critical, serious, or moderate drug interactions. So, for example, maybe you're not supposed to be taking Zyrtec with ibuprofen. That's not real. I'm just saying maybe, right?
we're not doctors. Don't take medical advice from us.
You can. I have definitely taken both Zyrtec and ibuprofen at the same time. I don't know if it F me up or whatever, but there you go. And then you can also choose to have these reminders for your medication that show up on your phone screen. By the way, you can choose for them to be discreet. So instead of saying, "Please take your birth control now," it can say, "Time for your medication," something like that. So that's nice that it's considered that. You can also choose to share your medication info with with other people. So, for example, your parents might be able to share their medication logs with you, just so you can keep an eye remotely on how good and consistent they're being with their daily pills, for example.
I think that's a lot of concern, like younger people have about their parents, because
yes.
If you're taking like 7 or 8 different pills every day, that can be hard to keep track of, especially if you're older and your memory's not quite as good. Yeah. So
I'm
it's
gonna
nice.
start making my parents. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have a way to like, hey, did you take it? And then like, oh, you can just check it off, and you don't even have to ask them. So it's like kind of a more hands-off way of like, keeping thoughtful tabs. Like you're not trying to like spy on them. You just, thoughtful check, make sure your parents are doing okay. Especially, for both of us, both of our parents live very far away. So it's like, it's sometimes like you get a little worried about like, oh, are they doing all right?
I know. I mean, like, it's only available in the US right now, and so I think for your parents sometimes that works, and for my parents, I'll have to wait till the feature expands to them. I think the key obviously is to like, as it is with being a parent or a good person, you just don't want to be too like enforcey with them, right? You don't want to like be too demanding that they log their medications every day or whatever, but you also want to use it as a good framework for a conversation. Like, hey, you haven't been logging this. Is everything okay? Like, just, I don't know. It's really, that's the human side of things that Apple's not responsible for. But at least it has this infrastructure in place if you want to. One thing I was concerned about, and I want to hear what you think, Sam, is that I, as a person, I have multiple drug allergies. I'm allergic to several types of antibiotics, which is a big concern. And one of the examples that Apple referenced when I was learning more about this was erythromycin. It is something I am deathly allergic to, and so that reminded me, like, does this medications tool have an area where you can enter your like drug allergies so it can warn you about potentially this? And it wasn't something that I got an answer from them at the moment. But is this me overthinking it, Sam, or is it something that is it like I would have to rely on my pharmacist and my doctor to not prescribe me medication that has that?
I think that's probably the idea, is that like, how are you getting the prescription for these medications in the first place? You're getting them from your doctor, you're getting them checked out by your pharmacist, so theoretically, these issues would be solved way ahead of time. Although, once you bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, that should be something that, there should be a field in the Apple Watch where you can be like, oh, I'm allergic to this. And so it's just an extra safeguard. I think, this is like the fourth or fifth like prevention way to prevent you from like taking something you're allergic to. But like, the first prevention is like, talking to your doctor knows best, and then your pharmacist, and then like, you have your Apple Watch as a backup. It's like, oh, or it's just in like a situation where it's like you get the wrong prescription and you take a picture of it, and it's like, then it notices, oh, hey, maybe you shouldn't take this. And then, then you can, follow up with your doctor. And I think that is probably, like you said, now that you brought it up, I imagine that's something that they'll probably add. It seems a pretty straightforward feature. But yeah, I think it's something good to think about. And it's one of those things like, that's when you need feedback from actual users in order to improve, products like this.
Right. Sir Holmes in the YouTube chat is like, oh, you gave a good idea to Apple. They're probably going to the office right now. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, a lot of people have allergies, not just me. I just happen to have drug allergies that I've been, having to pay attention to my entire life. Anytime I get a shot, anytime I get like any sort of medication, I'm like, does this have erythromycin? Because don't kill me. And I've been hospitalized because of. So like I just know to look out for it, but it's not something that people without serious drug allergies that would maybe think about.
Right. I'm not allergic to any drugs as far as I know, and so I wouldn't have thought about it. Right. But that once again, that's why you need to crowdsource a lot of these products so that you do get a wide variety of feedback.
So if we do see Apple add a drug allergy feature to this one day, we just know where the idea came from. Hey. Okay, I want to blast right through the rest of this because we have been talking about WWDC for a long time now. First of all, the fitness app now it's available on iPhones as well. You don't have to have an Apple Watch to use fitness anymore. Hurrah. And then the rest of the stuff that we just don't have time to dive into right now, but gets very interesting for me. For example, CarPlay is getting revamped. Sam, I have news for you. I am learning to drive.
Yes. So this has been like a multi-year project of let's teach Sherlyn to drive.
I may need your help at some point, but yes, I will be getting my license. Goal is this year. But anyway, so CarPlay will be very interesting for me because I've been in cars recently where like I've been in the front seat navigating with the driver, and yeah, CarPlay is on there. I'm going to become more interested in CarPlay over time, but yeah, it's going to better integrate with your car's infotainment system, and then also maps got some multi-stop routing feature, or is getting anyway, so you can route to just like not only your final destination, but let's say you need to make a grocery pickup along the way, or
I think they said you can add up to 15 stops in a single trip, which is like more than probably most people need, but yeah.
But it's great for like road trips, interstate road trips, for example. You want to add a stop to breakfast before you go to the hiking location. That's just going to be very helpful. So lots more news out of WWDC that if we couldn't cover completely in this podcast, you can always check out the details on Engadget.com. We've also got a lot of videos on the Engadget YouTube channel. But I also want to hear all your thoughts on everything that Apple announced. You can send us an email at podcast@engadget.com or just tweet us at Engadget. All right, that was a
what a huge segment.
I was like, it's an hour now. I think we're good, but
I mean, like a lot. I think CarPlay is just a preview because they said it's not going to be available till later this fall. So like it's nice to like for Apple to give people a heads up about they're doing UI changes, but like I think we'll talk talk more about that or learn more about that in the fall. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a couple of things that I banked from the chat. One was Chris Angelo Perez saying just general WWDC question, any tech or details from this week's session that piqued everyone's interest. Like very silly. It was the thing that I pointed out that Sherlyn mentioned, the tapback spam, the lack of tapback spam, because if you're in a group chat with like multiple people on multiple different mobile OSs, this is going to, it's a small but significant quality of life improvement. What do you guys think?
I mean, yes, I don't use iMessage a lot. That's the thing, right? Like especially like with Android people, we just use Telegram or WhatsApp, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think it was always funny because when they first added support for emoji reactions on Google Messages, prior to that, you would get like a full text saying, "This person hearted your comment," and it's like, it just showed me the emoji, like it was such a clunky workaround, and then they started expanding support so that Google Messages would support emoji reactions, and then now iMessage or Apple Messages is supporting the other way around. It's just like things should just work together better, regardless of which company is behind the product. And so it's nice to see a little bit of like camaraderie in terms of like the messaging apps. It's just nice. It's not a problem that should have existed, but at least they're addressing it.
I also want to point out that I do not like the selection of emojis that is in iMessage. Like you get the thumbs up, thumbs down, exclamation point, ha ha, literally the words ha ha, and then like something else. I'm just like, give me a heart shape. Like what? I think there is a heart.
No, there's a heart.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a heart.
Smiley face. Give me the cry emoji face. Give me like these options.
Well, right, okay, you're asking for, I think like Apple is doing like the real base emotions, basically like comedy and tragedy masks in theater or something.
Heart,
exactly. And what you're looking for is something a little closer to like Slack or Teams reactions where you can do a lot more emojis,
or Telegram or WhatsApp,
or just a regular emoji. Like it doesn't not everything has to be a reaction to everything. You can just post a regular emoji.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to say hi to Wilso as well.
Oh yes,
and also Markel.
We didn't even talk about very much about macOS gaming, like the fact that you can play No Man's Sky on an iPad now. Excuse me.
Actually, lots of gaming stuff. Yeah. There's metal effects for upscaling. There's No Man's Sky, and then there was a Resident Evil Village is coming to the Mac. So.
Yeah, Wilso was just talking about that and mentioned that a couple other times while we were doing that segment, so I wanted to shout that out. So thank you for reminding us, Wilso. Remember, like I say that the chat reminds us of stuff all the time, and I am not kidding about that.
Jimmy Jong brought up that voiceover users like him has a bunch. There's a bunch of new voices in iOS 16. That's actually a very good point.
And that's actually one of my favorite things in OS or Mac OS also. I am fully sighted, but I still use like voiceover and screen reading to read my emails back to me, because I find that to be a easier way, like the emails that I'm writing. Let's make sure that that's
okay. I was going to say, this seems like a very long process.
No.
I would never be able to get through my inbox if I had to listen to every
Yeah.
email.
No, the emails that I'm writing. So if I want to make sure that everything sounds good and like it's really easy for me to like skate over like double words or something like that. But when the computer reads it to me as exactly as it's written, that's invaluable to me. Super useful. Then we also had another really interesting point brought up by Michael Coley in the chat. They said, do you know if there will be any type of edit history? I know that some lawyers are saying to turn off iMessage because of this edit and undo send options. Julio, can you go to the run of show document and bring up that tweet that says tweet from a lawyer? Because Michael Coley sent me that tweet that he saw that apparently, since there's no edit history to iMessage, or may not be a edit history to iMessage yet, because all this stuff is in beta, that means that if you bring it up in court, it's a little murkier. So think about the case from, God, it was more than 10 years ago now, where Alec Baldwin got really angry at his then middle school age daughter or something, left her like a really nasty voicemail. Okay, that's that was the way that we did things 10 or more years ago. Now that nasty voicemail would probably be in text. And so what if someone like wrote out that entire block of text, a whole wall of text, and then like decided that they regretted it or something, and like edit it to like, oh, love you, honey. Like that, how does that play out in custody negotiations or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those like murkier things that like I'm sure people will figure out eventually. But it's like, yeah, if you're very concerned about it, I could see wanting to avoid iMessage or Apple Messages temporarily, at least.
I'm sure also Apple will probably have to figure out a way to display some of these change logs, or not in a full function way that Slack's been able to do it, but figure out what its other messaging app rivals are doing.
Yeah, like the same way that Facebook is actually excuse me. It's funny that we say anything positive about Meta these days, but on Facebook for also more than 10 years now, I remember like editing messages or editing like comments on my friends' statuses, and they say like it's so interesting like watching the evolution, because I might edit it like 2 or 3 times because I'm just like that. I think that's pretty important, and it's probably going to be coming to iMessage. You can only imagine.
Sure thing. I want to get through more comments. So Ron Barbaza said, first time watching the Engadget podcast live in a while now in your newly placed workstation. Hey, welcome back. Nanda Kore says MagSafe is back. Well, good luck with your Lightning port in the EU. Well, to be clear, there's also still the Lightning port with Thunderbolt. So there's just both. I guess people really like MagSafe. Sir Holmes said, the $200,000 difference between the new MacBook Air and the M1 MacBook Air, that $200 difference is nothing. Do you know how much we spend on gas? Like, this is true. Good Lord, it's so expensive.
As someone who's learning how to drive and will become aware of gas prices.
I already am. Yeah, I've had to pay for gas even though I was not the driver a couple times now. So there we go.
I know a lot of comments are like, "Oh, Apple's never going to make an Apple car," but maybe, I don't know. I still think that thing's going to come out eventually. But I think a lot of people are talking about like, talking about the displays. I think this is kind of similar to what Google talked about with Android Auto at Google I/O. Is that like we see a lot of these new cars and they're doing really interesting things with the number of screens and the size of the screens in new cars. You know, Tesla kind of like changed the game when they like put the big vertical screen in the Model S, and then like now we have like cars, BMWs, where like, you know, the display goes all the way across. And I think the new CarPlay is really designed not necessarily to take over the display, but in order to be able to better accommodate the varying screen sizes, the varying resolutions, and the varying arrangements of displays in new cars. Because, you know, car tech, like, they're kind of really embracing the like, oh, let's be more techy with a lot of the new cars, especially the EVs. And so I think this is probably what Apple is trying to do to address that, instead of just like, there's going to be a tiny screen in the middle, and then we're not going to be able to touch or, you know, expand you know, the UI or the layout to other displays.
I mean, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with CarPlay besides the like recent mild experience. So yeah, I'm just waiting to see. Gato H points out that all they wanted to hear about was VR, Apple VR, imagine M1 in a virtual reality headset. I'm like, no, you're right. All of us, at the very end, when Tim
right, I was gonna say
back,
you and Dana went out and you thought there might be a chance of like, oh, maybe we'll get they might announce like a VR thing. Didn't happen.
Yeah,
maybe in the fall, maybe.
Who knows? But they did trademark Reality OS, so I mean, it is gonna happen. But like we pointed out, like probably not at Dub because the forum filing deadline was June 8th, which is, you know, past WWDC. So as we know, it's probably soon, but happened to be not at Dub. So yeah, sorry about that, man. Not me. No, I'm not personally sorry. I'm bummed as well. A lot of people rightly pointed out that the desk view demo, part of continuity camera, seemed like it was a little staged, or at least very pre-recorded. So yeah, the barrel distortion might actually be there. We just don't know. Who knows? Sir Holmes said OnlyFans. That's a good use case for top-down view.
Oh goodness. That's not wrong. Also, another brilliant thing that Sir Holmes said, can I add a smoke sesh as part of my medications in the new Apple Watch feature?
I don't know if any doctors are providing or prescribing cigarettes as a
no.
medication.
Marijuana?
We're talking about a different smoke sesh.
That, yes. Sure, yeah. I mean, medical marijuana is a thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's legal in California, and on top of that, you can. Well, yeah, and New Jersey, and like.
Well, I mean, it's just fully legal in Jersey, but yes.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like, you can even put in, you know, the actual what is it? Like milligrams, number of milligrams that you ingested, if you're getting something controlled from like a dispensary or something.
I don't know about dispensary specifically, but you have the ability to add your dosage and your frequency and that sort of stuff. So I would guess that, yeah, any sort of dosage concerns are addressed. Sir Holmes also reminded me that there's a better password generator, I believe, coming in Safari, which is pretty cool. Actually, passkeys. How did I forget about passkeys? But it seemed really cool. I did ask that we break out passkeys, that sort of thing. If Dhruv Karmokar comes back from their study session, hey, thanks for joining us. And also thanks to D-Man for thanking us for our reporting. I always love the positive feedback. I do want to move on soon, but Ben, did you bank anything else? And I can poop twice a day. Yay is back. Hi. We're very happy.
Yes.
Go on, Ben.
No, I don't have anything else. The most interesting thing was Michael Coley's thing about family law. I think that's fascinating, and we'll see what happens with that. Thanks, Michael Coley, for pointing that out.
Brant Mitchell asked, is turning off location tracking silent on the other end? I mean, that was a question I had to, because I don't want the other person to know that they are no longer being able to follow me. But I imagine they would find out sooner or later, right, that they can't track you anymore. So even if it is silent, that's not kind of like a big deal, I guess. So there we go. And then also just shout out to Michael Coley, Brian Mitchell, Kylo Tech, Declan Flynn, all the people who have been leaving questions. Dude named Charlie. We might not be able to get to that right now, but we just thankful that you're here. Josh Turnoff and Dennis. So okay, we should move on to learn more about the Surface Laptop Go-To from Sam. So we good?
Yes, let's start in on the Surface Laptop Go.
All righty, Sam, this is all you. I'm just going to throw it to you.
All right. I guess let's get started.
I'll do it. Yeah, ready? Okay. Okay, outside of WWDC, there were some slight other news. We actually got some hardware to play with. Sam, you were able to spend some time with the new Surface Laptop Go 2. Tell me all about it.
So this is mostly a spec refresh of the original Surface Laptop Go, which came out in 2020. And so the last one was started at 550. The new one starts at 600. So not a ton more expensive, but you know, $50 more expensive. But you do get an 11th gen, not 12th gen, Intel Core i5 CPU, 4 gigs of base RAM, which is not ideal. And 128 gig SSD, which to me that's the big upgrade, because previously you got 64 gigs of eMMC storage. If you know anything about storage, you know that eMMC flash storage is relatively slow, and so that that alone right there is probably worth that $50 upgrade over the previous base model. And so it's a 12.4-inch screen, same resolution as before. It got a weird resolution. It's like 1536 by 1024, so not full HD. But once again, it's a 12.4-inch display, so it's a little bit smaller. And from what I've used so far, if you have like good eyesight, you can kind of still see where the pixels are. But it's meant to be an affordable laptop. We're not talking like Liquid Retina QHD.
Right.
It's good, and it's like I said, it's a small laptop, so it's not that big of a deal.
Does the $600 price include the keyboard?
Oh, so this is just a laptop. This is not like a tablet. This is a full laptop.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of designed to be like a really good travel laptop. Also like a good laptop for students, something really portable, really travel friendly, and a more affordable alternative to like the standard Surface Laptop 4.
Gotcha. Before I interrupted you, excuse me, you were going to say something else.
Oh, I'm just kind of running down the other main changes. Battery life is up about half an hour to 13.5 hours on a charge. Still running our battery test, so we'll see how that goes in the full review. The webcam is still 720p, which I don't like. We were talking about it with the new MacBook Air. I think 1080p should be standard across the board for all laptops, just because you want to look good in have a decent resolution for video calls. That said, Microsoft did add a new sensor, and from what I've seen, it's pretty decent. Increases color saturation, increases color contrast, and it's fine for video calls, fine for meetings. You're not going to want to live stream on Twitch with it or whatever, but that's kind of to be expected.
I mean, I'm looking at the video that we shot of this thing, and it looks clean. It looks very, like it might be at a price point targeted for maybe a student or something, but it looks on the outside to be even like conference room friendly. Like it looks sophisticated on the outside.
And so that's the nice thing is like they didn't have to change much with the design because it was already a good looking machine. I think I really actually like the way the Surface line, especially the Surface laptop line, looks in general, because it's different enough from Apple's MacBooks and other systems, and it has its own identity, but it's still very clean, very minimalist, and like even just like the really simple like 4 square Microsoft logo on the outside is like that's all you need, And there is I do have to call out, there is a new sage color that I do like. So they have the other, like the blue and the silver and the sandstone one. Those still exist, but there's a new stage color for this year, and I actually really, really like it.
Oh crap!
And yeah, so 720p webcam, 12.4-inch, 1536 by 1024 pixel sense display. It does have touch. 330 nits of brightness, so pretty good for. Yeah, I mean 400 would be better, but that's more what you expect on like $1,000 laptop. And you can upgrade the RAM to 8 gigs. It tops out at 8 gigs, and it tops out at 256 gigs of storage. And I think if you were going to use this as your main machine, I would pay for that upgrade to get the 8 gigs of RAM. Definitely.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like I was going to ask you, how did you feel the 4 gigs of RAM served you? I know you haven't spent too much time with it.
So Microsoft sent out the 8 gig RAM version, which I think is probably kind of telling. It's like, if you want the best experience, you're going to need a little bit more RAM.
And that's just tiny.
Yeah, ports are the same. There's one USB-A port, one USB-C port, and a Surface Connect port for charging. and kind of like you said before, I agree with you. I really like having at least one port on each side of the laptop, so you
Right?
have a little bit of flexibility. It's like, maybe the outlet is only on your left, and you don't want to like
Right.
reach the cord all the way around. I really like
Exactly.
it, and this is like, once again, just do USB-C charging. I know people love the magnetic connectors, but like
Yeah.
if you supported USB-C charging on the USB-C port, then you could
Yeah.
also just plug it in on the left if you wanted to.
Yep. Wait, so this doesn't support USB-C charging? I believe older Surfaces did, so.
The tablets do. I
Yeah.
have to double check to see if it supports USB-C charging. I don't believe it does, but stay tuned for the full review. I will figure that out for you for sure.
There's also a question for you. I have a question for you. So this 12-inch machines are notorious for like really cramped keyboards. Did you feel like this was the same?
I mean, not really. I feel like the keycaps are just like a tiny bit smaller than you'd get on like a full size, like 13, 14-inch laptop. But I've been typing on it. I mean, I've been working a bit about in the review, like while on that machine. It's been fine. Yeah, and even though like the touchpad is not like the Surface Studio touchpad, which is like really nice and like a different level, it's fine. This is meant to be a travel companion, something very slim, very sleek. It weighs like just over 2 pounds, and so it like it just disappears in like bags. So you put it there and you don't even notice you're carrying it. And it's like, for me, I think for me, it's like I have a desktop at home and that's what I use. Like, I have a big desk and I can't move it anywhere because it's a desktop PC. But if I want to go out, I want something really small, really portable that I'm not like, oh, my back hurts and like I think like, oh, it's like I have to go somewhere and like I get tired thinking about carrying it around.
Yeah. That's one of the use cases for something like this, right? Like as a secondary device, or like, because I was going to say, who do you think would use this or should buy this? But I was going to also wait for your full review.
Yeah, I definitely think this is for like if you want an affordable travel PC. I think this is a great pick. If students, a great pick, especially like middle school students or like like even high school students, because it's like not as expensive. It's well under $1,000. And it's really easy to carry around, and it's been pretty durable too.
Can you game on it?
You can, but not like no AAA gaming. It has Intel Iris Xe graphics, and so like it's integrated graphics. You're not going to be playing
Overcooked instead of Overwatch, right? Basically.
Yeah, I mean Overwatch actually runs pretty well on integrated graphics nowadays. But yeah, like no Cyberpunk, no Elden Ring, that sort of thing.
Perfect for students, I guess. These students, you don't need anything. So now, since we're talking a bunch about ports, while we wait on your full review, there's been like some news in regulatory land in tech. So, I mean, one of the
wait, nice
things,
segue. Way to go.
Thank you. The EU has reached its deal, and this has been in the works for a while, to make USB-C the common charger for everything. Okay, we know that the EU has for years now tried to find like sort of one charger to charge them all, and in the darkness rule them. But no, this USB-C would be the common charger for things like mobile phones, tablets, e-readers, earbuds, digital cameras, headphones and headsets, handheld video game consoles, and portable speakers. And this would be, I believe, the target is by the year 2024. Just let me double check that number. But for me, okay, great. I am super stoked because not only for the phones and laptops side of things, which by the way, laptops doesn't seem to be included in this list. But maybe it's in somewhere else. But
I think the laptop thing is probably a power issue, because on really big laptops that like suck down like 240 or 300 watts, those still use barrel proprietary barrel plugs, because the USB-C PD spec only goes up they revised it I believe earlier this year. I think they revised it so that it goes up to 240 watts, but there are some 300 watt laptops, and so that's why I think laptops are excluded. And even right now, most power bricks, like universal USB power bricks, only go up to about 150 160 watts tops, and they're still working on getting USB-C cables that have the correct that can handle the right wattage as well.
Yeah, gotcha. Like it does add a layer of trickiness to it, so I get it. I mean, I am personally excited just for USB-Cs to be across the platform good because like my parents, one of them uses an Android, one of them uses an iPhone, and I had to like bring two chargers when I was traveling with them recently, so that was like
Right.
just annoying as well. But I also just like am excited for again the list of devices like e-readers, digital cameras. I mean, earbuds and headphones, a lot of them already use USB-C, but like just the fact that some manufacturers for a while there were cheaping out and still resorting to micro USB, the fact that moving forward they can't anymore. I mean, I think they were already going to trend that way because the choice to use micro USB, I believe, was always a cost issue rather than like they believe that people should just use that or a power delivery issue.
Yeah, when USB-C first came out, and I talked to some manufacturers about it,
yeah,
it would cost like a micro USB port cost about 5 cents to put on a thing, and it was about 25 cents or more to put a USB-C port. And so like, if you multiply that by thousands or millions of gadgets, that cost adds up pretty quick. Yeah. The funny thing is like you were reading over that list of like devices that it covers: mobile phones, tablets, e-readers, earbuds. The funny thing is that all of those, at least nowadays, have already migrated to USB-C. Exactly. So this is actually sort of like, trying to crack the whip at Apple to like, hey, and Apple's already transitioned to USB-C for laptops and tablets. It's like the iPhone is just like the real thing that's really holding everything back. Because even Amazon added USB-C to their like Fire tablets, last year and before. And so, it's like, it's basically, it's forcing Apple to kind of adhere to what pretty much everyone else is doing. The one thing that like I really hope that this does, and even though these devices aren't included, is that like I really want now that like the big tech gadgets will be forced to use USB-C, I want to see other like random gadgets use USB-C, like toothbrushes or just like all sorts of
TV remote or something.
Right, TV remotes, or all of like the like kitchen gadgets, like an immersion blender.
Immersion blenders. You're right, yeah.
These are all the devices that I really want, because you still get all like, you're buying gadgets like not traditional core tech gadgets, and they still have proprietary plugs, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. I have like a hands-free soap dispenser, and it has like this unique like magnetic charger, and it's like, just put USB-C on it. Like, it's so annoying.
I wonder if like for some of those devices it has anything to do with waterproofing, but I also know that waterproofing is easy to achieve with USB-C, since a lot of phone manufacturers have proven it can be done. So it's a matter of like, think about convenience for your user as opposed to for you. But I guess we haven't been there yet with USB-C, and it looks like we're heading that way. So hopefully in the future, people just assume that USB-C is prevalent and is the standard and just use it. And I also want to point out that this is the EU. So it's going to start over in Europe and might eventually make its way over to the US, as we have seen, because the EU's previous tech-related, I guess, doctrines like this have found their way over here, what with GDPR and all of that stuff. They have far-reaching impacts. So this hopefully will become a worldwide change. I also want to see, the other thing I want to see is, how you go to an airplane or a hotel now and they have the USB-A ports for charging? I want to see those turn into USB-C as well, because now I have C to C, and A to C is becoming less and less modern. So maybe one day, and also fast charge in those.
Right, and the other thing is like, part of the whole purpose of this is to reduce e-waste, right? And so
exactly,
instead of having a whole bunch of different cables and adapters, suddenly you don't need a USB-A to USB-C cable. Everyone can just use double-sided USB-C cables. And that'd be really great. And you see this a lot in the car world, where you have USB-A chargers in some cars, and then some new cars are like more, tech-savvy car makers, like Tesla switched to USB-C in their cars. And it's like, great, let's keep this kind of momentum going and make, the whole idea is make one port standard that works with everything.
Yes. Then, you're so right. Like, e-waste is a huge issue with this. It could reduce so much of that. So hopefully we'll see changes coming soon. But speaking of another regulatory, I guess, thing that happened, this news broke on Friday. So right after the podcast episode was recorded. But New York State passed a right to repair bill. As of June 3rd, it headed to New York governor for signing or for veto, but at least passed Assembly and Senate. So the bill is called the Digital Fair Repair Act, and it would require original equipment manufacturers or OEMs to make available the diagnostic and repair information for the products that they make, or as well as the electronic parts and equipment. These things have to be made available to independent repair providers as well as consumers, if they are also available to themselves and their authorized repair providers, which means we're looking at Apple again, aren't we? Because you've got all these authorized repair providers for iPhone and Apple devices that have access to the diagnostic information as well as the components required. But then all other people, like, I don't know, like yourself, Sam, if you're fixing phones, or you're a mom and pop shop that does repairs as well, they couldn't access the same information. So now with this, once it's passed into law, I guess, Apple and other such companies will have to do that. I know I sort of obliquely referenced it, but Sam, would you repair your own devices?
I have before in the past. It's not something I do all the time, but it's just nice to be able to have that option. I think it's really important to, like, if you are that technically inclined and you want to be able to do it, you end up saving so much money that, like, it's really nice to be able to do that. And I think the other part of that is that, like, we've seen some manufacturers kind of open up, like, the internals where, like, Valve posted a complete first-party teardown of the Steam Deck to show you what's going on and stuff. And I think just increasing the understanding and the availability of parts, because, for example, Valve partnered with iFixit to provide repair parts for the Steam Deck. It's like, that is something that's really nice. And it's like, back in the day, that's like something that, like, you would do as, like, a gesture to the customer. And I think it's nice to have that kind of enshrined in law, so that you have people have have the ability to do that and do the repairs, and in a certain way learn about what's going on inside the devices. There's a definitely educational aspect to that I really like.
I mean, that brings me to the other side of this, which is that, like, I believe Apple's whole thing at the start of, like, not allowing anyone to be able to just open up their phones willy-nilly and fix them is, like, this fear of A, jailbreaking, and B, like, the proprietary design information getting out there. I don't know if this is still the case. Are they still trying to, like, prevent that from happening? Or, are they going to find some way to prevent that sort of thing? I don't know if jailbreaking is as much of a concern anymore for Apple.
I don't think
was
so.
that possibly what it was, like, in the past?
I think part of it is just, like, there's a certain level of control that, like, a lot of these big companies like to have, where it's like, if you're able to buy third-party parts, that means you're not buying it from Apple or whoever, and that costs them money. And there definitely is, I think, a security part to that, because there was that issue not too long ago where third-party repairs of, like, the Face ID sensor, that could brick a phone. And it's like, I think there's definitely some security aspect to that, but that's just, that's sort of on the manufacturer to make sure that you can have a device that's repairable and still secure.
Right. And also, speaking of that, there is a caveat, by the way, to New York State's Digital Fair Repair Act. It will cover devices like, basically anything that has a value of over $10. Okay. So, I mean, I'm sorry if you were buying, like, a e-cigarette that's intended for one use, they don't have to provide, like, the parts for that. But it also excludes public safety communications equipment, which is reasonable, but also home appliances with digital electronics embedded within them, which means your smart fridge or your smart washing machine, you still don't have the right to repair, in the sense that, like, the manufacturers don't have to make the parts and the diagnostics available to you, which I guess for now seems fine, but, like, it feels short-sighted. It feels like something that could become a huge loophole in the next 10 years, because we're trending towards everything getting a screen in it, everything becoming smart. And I don't know what, like, the home appliance repair scene is like, but I assume you'd be able to ask an independent contractor to repair your washing machine without having to look for an authorized repair provider at the moment, right? I mean, that has to be the case right now, isn't it?
Yeah. This seems like something that, like, you maybe could be amended in the future.
Right.
Because like
Probably.
you said, like my oven has a touchscreen on it, and
Yeah.
you know, if that goes wrong, it would be nice to be able to fix it, and especially, or even just like replace it, because the touchscreen is
Yeah.
actually terrible. And like, so you have a lot of like appliance manufacturers, especially like the not Samsung and not LG type manufacturers, who are kind of dragging their feet when it comes to like modernizing and, you know, modernizing their appliances. And so they are still in the mindset where it's like, oh, we don't have to do this because we make ovens, and that's not what we do. We're not a cell phone manufacturer. And it's like, well, no, that's not necessarily the case anymore. You know, so many appliances have smart tech features that it's like, you know, you want to be able to get in there and, you know, maybe the drum on your washing machine isn't broken, but the dial is, and you want to be able to fix that.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, as long as it has a digital electronics component, you might need to, you know, you might not have access to the right parts for it, but hopefully, like Sam said, this is something that might be amended in the future to cover. But we still have a little bit to wait until this becomes law, and then after it becomes law, it also there's a year before this is actually enforced. So there's some time before, you know, these parts that we're talking about become freely available to everyone. So sit tight, and I guess, you know, get your screwdrivers ready.
I was going to say, Sir Holmes kind of makes an interesting comment in chat where it's like, you know, I don't know anyone who wants to be an electrician on their day off, and that's totally fine. Like this, this bill doesn't really affect that. Like, you know, you're still gonna be able to call your serviceman or your, you know, manufacturer and have a repairman sent out. But this is for the people who, like, you know, have the expertise or want to learn how to do it.
Or it'll also drive prices of repairs down because now more people have access to the tools. Your friend can do it for you for $50, right?
Absolutely. And this is kind of like increasing the general knowledge base and empowering the customer to have more ownership and control over the device that they paid for. And I think, you know, I think that's the real goal from, like, you know, more of a philosophical level.
Right. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. And if you have any more questions about how to repair your phone, don't ask me, but you can also send questions in general to podcast@engadget.com. I do want to move on to what we've been working on really quick. I know, Sam, you're probably testing out the Surface Laptop Go 2 for a deeper review, but what else are you working on?
I'm also working on the Asus ROG Zephyrus Duo 16, which got announced back at CES. It's their latest version of their dual screen gaming laptop. It's a big boy, but they have some nice improvements to the second screen. So, you know, stay tuned for that after the Surface Go 2 comes out. What are you working on? I know you've been traveling a lot, but you still got some stuff in the tank.
I would really love to take a break soon, even though I know I've been on and off on so-called vacation, but none of my vacations actually have been restful. But anyway, yeah, with all this stuff being announced now about iOS and Watchos and all that stuff, I'm, you know, probably going to be trying to test out the developer previews of those things and give y'all some early impressions of new features like, you know, undo send and how many people am I editing my messages with, that sort of thing. So hang around, and, you know, some other stuff being cooked in the background as well. Okay. We normally do Around Engadget, but I don't think Around Engadget has been anything but Apple this week, so we're going to skip that. So Ben, let's just jump into picks, shall we?
Yeah, so just do a clean intro to picks.
Yes, okay. So on the way back from WWDC and also on the way to, I was able to watch some movies finally that have been released but not on my streaming services yet. Sam, have you seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet?
Yes. Yeah.
You have? Okay, so this is the one with the many different Spider-Men, right? Because we've seen the memes. It's not much of a spoiler to say that. But I finally was able to watch it because I was like, I've been waiting. I've just been too cheap to pay the $5 to watch it on Google Play or whatever. And I finally saw it on a lame ass seat back screen, that
tiny airplane screen.
Yeah,
that's like the worst way to watch movies, but yeah.
I know. But I was so scared. I was tired of being scared of having it spoiled for me. So I watched it. I don't know how much we want to talk about it, you know, spoiler free, you know. But I will just say that I wasn't too pleased with the ending. And I hope for a different outcome, but we will see. And then I also watched what Devendra said nobody should watch, which is Moonfall. Which
so
Sam, have you heard?
I really want to watch this movie, and not because I think it's good. I just like the premise is so stupid that like there's aliens hiding in the moon. Is that the premise? And then people don't believe that they're real.
I will tell you what happened. So I started watching this. I was like, ah ha ha, funny. Like I'll watch this and I bet I'll like it despite what Devendra said, right? So I start watching it and then I just passed out 30 minutes in because it was kind of just not doing anything for me. Yeah. And then I woke up at some point to someone saying, the situation was this person was going to go into space and they were clearly not like qualified to go into space, right? And so this person, the line of dialogue that I woke up to was, I can't go to space. I have IBS. And I was like, is that really the line I woke up to? I was like, are you kidding? Like, what? This is so ridiculous. I immediately texted Devendra. I was like, what the crap is this movie? Like, what on earth is this dang movie? I will say, if you watch it knowing that you're going to find this like sort of level of dialogue, knowing that it's kind of serious, but halfway campy and like, I don't know what it wants to be.
This is like the spiritual successor to The Wandering Earth. Did you ever see that movie? It's
awful. I loved Wandering Earth.
Why? It's like a Chinese version of like the most Michael Bay like apocalyptic like scenario. And it's like it's based on a book by one of my favorite authors, and it's just like I don't know. I felt like it was just too extra of a movie.
I think that's one with Wu Mengda in it, right? Like Ng Manta, Richard Ng, I guess. In as the grandfather. Okay, I liked it.
I enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it because a good movie. I enjoyed it because it was that bad. Yeah. And I think I feel like Moonfall is a very similar situation.
Yeah, I mean, one has the moon crashing into something else, I guess. Like cool.
The sun's crashing into the Earth, so then we have to move the Earth, and then there's aliens in the moon, and they're gonna mess up the Earth. Pretty similar.
Similar premise. But on to a better pick. I wasn't able to let our video team know this in advance, so people watching on YouTube right now won't have a visual representation. But I have been watching a book called reading a book called Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I think that's the way you pronounce the last name. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've been enjoying this book. It's the same author as the person that wrote The Martian. So it's got very similar vibes. In fact, like I was reading this book on the plane and then I was like, no, I really want to watch The Martian now. So thankfully there was The Martian on the in-flight entertainment system. So I watched that. But no, it's really great space science fiction. The premise is that they found life on the sun. And
great.
We got to figure out what to do with that. But the life is slowly draining power from the sun. And the sun was getting, colder, and the Earth is, getting colder by 1 degree every year or something. So,
I mean, sci-fi is like my main jam. So I had heard about this. So it's one of the books on my like to read list.
Yeah. I can't wait for the movie that's based off of this novel. But anyway, Sam, what have you been doing to relax?
So Igor, our colleague Igor, posted a hands-on review right when it released. But I've been playing Diablo Immortal, and it's such a heartbreaking game because I love Diablo games. Like Diablo 2 back in the day was like I spent more hours than I can count playing that game, and the new one, like, on a technical level, it's a great game. It's an incredible mobile game. The graphics are really, really impressive for a phone game. It's really deep, and it's like in some respects, it's like a Diablo MMO, which is like a really interesting place to take it. But then, Blizzard added in all the microtransactions, and like I totally get all the hate and all like the anger about how Blizzard has monetized Diablo Immortal, and it's very frustrating. And the really sad thing is that like I'm only like level 35 right now, and everyone says that up until from 1 to 50 you don't really get pushed too hard, but then as you get to endgame from level 50 to 60, that's when you start getting inundated and you really start feeling the like crunch of like, oh man, I don't want to pay for this, but if I want to like optimize my character, it kind of feels like I need to, and it's just like such a heartbreaking situation to have what in every other respect is a great game, and then you just like I don't want to deal with these microtransactions. It's so sad.
I know. I mean, so I think Dev was also talking about this game last time I spoke with him on the podcast, and he told me this was a top-down game.
It's an action. It's like a kind of isometric action RPG game, so it's like 3/4 view.
Okay. I guess that's not so bad. Like I was hoping for more of like a first-person POV kind of a situation, but that's
no. I mean, that's never been Diablo's thing.
Right.
But yeah,
there's Demon Hunters, and that sounds awesome to me. But yeah, no, the way that they've decided to do, I guess I personally am glad to hear it's only the last 10 levels that they're pushing it super hard, but that's also not ideal for anyone that really just wants to complete the game.
Well, I mean, I think what it is like, I think if you just want to get through the story, because this is, Diablo Immortal's kind of like a prequel to Diablo 3, like timeline wise. So if you want to go through and just play the game, I think you'll actually have a pretty good experience. It's the like once you get the end game and once you start trying to like improve your gear or like run rifts or like do raids, that's when you start feeling like because they have a system where you need to buy crests in order to get better loot from the like rifts that you're running, and it's just like why it's just heartbreaking.
I'm sorry to hear that. So I guess play Diablo, but just lower your expectations is your main tip.
Yeah.
All right, that is good to know. I think we're ready to close, but I don't want to end on. Oh, can we just end on main tip, Ben?
Yeah, I can. I usually cut a little bit of stuff from the end and then just go straight to the outro anyway. So just do the outro.
Okay. And then those of you watching on YouTube, stick around. I'm doing the outro now, but we're still going to have time to get to your questions after this briefly. Okay. Well, that's it for the episode this week, everyone. Thank you as always for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Elman. You can find Sam online at
Sam Rutherford.
If you want to send me a list of things you can't do because you have IBS, I'm at Sherlindo on Twitter. Email us your thoughts at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on your favorite podcast catcher.
I have no idea why Devindra never said anything about I can't go to space. I have IBS. That is the funniest line that I've heard in years.
I just woke up and it was so random. I think I paraphrased or something, but literally that's what that person was saying. I was like, what the crap? But I see the chat is having a lot of fun with it. I love it. I can't go to WWDC. I have IBS and the chairs are outside.
Well, I can't go to Taco Bell. I have IBS is a legitimate concern.
Legitimate.
Well, no, but that's a tautology.
Yeah, right.
Having IBS, can't go to Taco Bell. Taco Bell might give you
that's like the most vicious cycle
form of IBS.
Right. There's like one tiny section of hell where it's like people with IBS,
Taco Bell IBS,
bad people with IBS can only eat Taco Bell.
Ugh. Or it's just like an endless hallway of bathrooms, but all of them are locked.
Right, they're all taken, so you just got to keep walking forever.
Ouch. Oh god. Looking all the way back up to just make sure we get some of them. Any questions you banked, Ben?
I know it was mostly like people talking about right to repair, which is very relevant. I'm surprised that no one mentioned John Deere tractors, because
those are in the right to
repair. People always mention that.
Yeah. Chris Angelo Perez is like cheering me on for the driving lessons thing. Sam, I'm gonna see if I can get your help if I can't get our friend Alex.
Well, the problem is I don't have a car. Like we both live in the city, and like that's why you haven't like if you live in the suburbs, you would have had to like been forced to learn a long time ago. But because we have public transportation that's accessible, it's not as big of a deal not being able to drive.
I will ask Alex if she's down and see if she can. But
I mean, like I am hopefully gonna buy a car in like the next year or two, but like nice. Until I do, I don't have a vehicle for you to test on.
That's fine. Mark Bell said that he's learning to ride a bike. What's Apple Bike Play?
Yeah, I should have banked that because I like that also.
Nice one.
And then, I mean, who is it? It's D-Man who wondered, what's coming after USB-C? That's an interesting question,
Hopefully
but it's
nothing.
also very far off because USB-A has been around for a really long time.
Mhm.
Mark Dell chimed in to give some context and said USB-A was added to a second release of Windows 95. So it's hopefully going to be around for a good long time. And isn't that the whole idea behind the EU thing? Like you're trying not to create e-waste, which means that you're not going to be moving to another standard anytime soon.
Well, and that's the other thing is that like, and this is kind of confusing because the USB-C is like the shape of the connector, but it's also a spec for that connector, and those two things aren't necessarily linked. And so we've already seen this where they've upgraded, for example, like USB power delivery. USB power delivery used to cap out at 100 or 120 watts. And last year, or I think it was last year, they raised that limit to 240 watts. So there are ways to improve the standard without changing the physical shape of the connector. And so hopefully, the USB-C port is small enough where we don't have to, create an even smaller one. And, maybe this lasts until, everything goes fully portless anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that, Sam made almost exactly the same point I was going to make, which is that USB-C is different from USB 4, right? Like, so we're going to see like changes coming to the spec itself, but the shape probably stays because otherwise, like Ben said, it's just pointless to do all of these regulations around the shape.
And to another point, like Thunderbolt uses the USB-C port, physical port, but it is a different spec. And so, there is, room to have different capabilities and improve things, throughout over time.
Yes. Although I was watching some YouTube videos about what the difference is between like USB-C or USB 3.1, USB 3.2, the name changes with all of that, and Thunderbolt. And the very frustrating thing is that you need to have Thunderbolt controllers. If you are not using an Intel chip, you need a Thunderbolt controller in the machine.
Yep. And I mean, that's so, and that's why you often don't see Thunderbolt on AMD only laptops, where if it's like it's an AMD processor and an AMD GPU. A lot of those systems just don't support Thunderbolt at all, and that's part of the reason for it. And to your point, Apple has a deal with Intel where they license Thunderbolt controllers for MacBooks so they can have Thunderbolt support. And yeah, it gets messy, and it's also partly the USB-C implementers forum's fault for making the standards just awkwardly named so that they're not as straightforward or easy to understand as they probably should be.
Exactly. Gonzalo Costa has an important question. Was there anyone else with a Pixel phone at the Apple event? And I did not personally witness this besides me being that person, but I would bet that with the number of media there was probably someone else. Like I can't have been the only one, but I might have been the only one with a Pixel phone combo with the Windows laptop combo with the Facebook logo bag. So that I'm the only one that was that. So yeah.
That would actually be like a good Instagram post of one of those posts that you scroll through, like just like little
True. I should have done that.
like shots of people like using like Pixel phones or Samsung phones at the Apple release at the WWDC.
This reminds me of a story. This was like IFA, like 2017, I think. And I was at an Acer press conference, and a bunch of people, like most of the people had Macs because most of the people in our industry, a lot of them use Macs. And I was using the original Surface Book. And in the middle of the press conference, Windows decided to do a Windows update and started restarting my thing as I was like taking notes. And like there were people sitting next to me, and they're just like, they were just like laughing at me, and I was like, I couldn't hide the shame. I mean, like it only took like a minute to restart, but just like the worst possible time in the middle of a press conference to have your Windows machine do a restart.
Well, but I was in that situation before, but I was using back then a Huawei MateBook. This was before all the issues with their privacy stuff came out, and my Huawei MateBook was the only one that could connect to the internet. Everyone else couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, Okay. Anyway, want to shout out to Sir Holmes who says, "Reminder, I love you all. Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you."
Thank you, Sir Holmes.
We're very close to time up, so I just want to see if there's any like outstanding questions. Why says, "Are Chromebooks still a thing?" And yes, they are. Lots of people talking about webcam resolutions, EU and Type Cs. Did you see anything, Ben?
Any other comments?
Or yeah, anything you banked that you wanted to talk about?
No. I mean, Declan Flynn said, I'm surprised Apple didn't have emergency swag for journalists like Cher.
Oh no, we did have swag.
I was like, they probably did, yeah.
Well, no, but like to replace all of the stuff that you have for the optics of things.
No, yeah. They did tell me when I got to the MacBook demonstration table and I put my Samsung laptop on there, they were like, excuse me, we're not allowing other branded devices on this table. I was like, oh crap, okay. So,
yeah, because you never know when people are taking pictures.
Yeah, and I had to like sit down and like write instead of like writing on that table. So anyway, my Apple bag did come with a 50 milliliter bottle of SPF 30 sunscreen, which was basically useless. But anyway,
makes sense given sitting outside and everything.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to keep addressing questions and calling out all your names, but we don't really have time. So
yeah, we're tired. This has been a big episode too.
Big episode. Before Ben gets
we got crit by WWDC.
I know.
Yeah.
Before Ben gets to the credits, I just do want to shout out our closed caption person over there doing the Lord's work, because we talk a lot, we talk fast, and you have to do the really difficult job of captioning all of that. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Is this it? The tiny finger heart. Very cute.
Exactly. And of course, as always, we are grateful to all of you in the live chat. I'll let Ben take it away.
Just one last thing before the credits. So usually I do like a fun little kind of stinger at the end after like we do the outro and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually it's Sherlyn. Sometimes I feel bad about how often it's Sherlyn, but Sherlyn does say the funniest things the most often. And so it was definitely going to be something about like polyamory is a thing, but then we had the very clean quote of, I can't go to space, I have IBS. I'm going to clip that and I'm going to send that to Julio to use as a sound on a soundboard.
Oh no. IBS. Let's make an IBS song.
Yeah, okay. No, I'll have to make a remix out of it or something. Anyway, thank you for sticking around this long. Our video comes to you via the Engadget and Yahoo Video team, which is Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. Thanks to everyone in the chat. You're the ones who make this fun. You remind us of fun context things like when USB-A started. And if you stuck around this long, you know that we live in a world of algorithms better than the average person. So like rate us 5 stars on iTunes, rate us 5 stars on Google Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts. Tell a couple of friends about us. If you've watched the live stream, just download the episode too. Just help us with the numbers any way you can, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for joining.